There we go. Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, live on the Morning Vibe, August 26, 2022. Hope you're keeping blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And I am a two-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018. I was the winner for the Innovation Award, and I co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And for those who know and those who don't know, usually I have Mr. Ryan Knight with us this morning, but he is not able to make it. So as I said, I'm going hands solo this morning, and hope everyone's had a really good week. Last week of August. So, hey, next week, well, I know I've been speaking with some comrades in the United States or different parts in the world. School has started in some areas. Next week, school starts in the Toronto area and probably most of Canada for at least elementary school. So we are looking to have an epic conversation. Ryan will be back with us on Monday. And before you leave, we have a special announcement coming up for Monday's show. We're going to be starting another new monthly segment on Monday, but I will tell you about that near the end of the conversation. We're going to highlight. So last Monday, when Ryan and I were just chopping up, talking about a number of different things, it seems we spent a lot of time talking about Black Canadian media. And one of the things I love doing this for is people from the environment, Black environment, sorry, because Ron's going to say, you almost said that C word, the environment, coming and say, hey, like to come on, because they have knowledge a lot of times more than I do about areas that we chat about, because I don't know much, but I'm blessed to know people that know more than I do on subjects that are of importance. And one of those individuals is with us today. And for those who watch once in a while, you may see in the comments, a gentleman named Tim Fray. So let me give a little background, and we're going to bring him up here. So we have, through Fraycat Productions, Tim Fray and his team writes and produces music for artists, TV shows, and movies. Music written by his organization, Fraycat Productions, got radio play medium to high rotation at stations like Energy 108, AM 640, CIUT, CKLN, CJCB Sydney, Z95.3 in Vancouver, also The Bridge in Vancouver, BBC London, UK, WBLK in Buffalo, and over 120 radio stations in the United States. So as you can see, Tim has a deep background in regards to radio. And I think if we can peel back a little bit, he'll give us some of his experiences in the music industry. But today we're going to be bringing Tim up to talk about the Black Canadian media industry. You know, he's been around for a bit. I've been around for a bit. And we want to see the industry get to that next level, get higher. So what we're doing is we're going to welcome Tim Fray to the Morning Vibe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Good. Health is okay? Because I know the last time we saw each other, you told me you were coming from a little bit of a surgery.
Yes, I had major back surgery, and it's actually doing phenomenal. I feel like I'm 25 again, even though I'm double that age. But yeah. So look, it was a long time coming. It happened, and now we're with the help of my immediate family. I'm doing really well.
Good stuff. So before we get roll up our sleeves and get right into talking about the state of the Canadian media, Black Canadian
Yes.
media industry. Can you share a little bit of your
Sorry, I didn't hear the last
No
part.
problem. Could you share some of your background in the media industry?
Well, first of all, my name is Tim Fray. For those who don't know me, I'm the founder and CEO of Hospice Group, where we develop and grow Black-led businesses of all sectors into corporations and franchises. So my background is from the corporate sector. And for over 35 years, been in the corporate sector, but I have special expertise in working with corporate brands. So I haven't started multiple commercial recording studios here in Canada and Bermuda. I've known both the pains and successes of what it looks like on both sides of the media content creation and also the side of delivering the media content. Right. So what makes me unique is my approach to collaboration and sharing resources amongst production companies and studios. Canada and the US, and also in the Caribbean, Bermuda to be exact. I believe that the best is yet to come for our community. And as it pertains to Black media and ownership, we need to keep working, moving forward and working together. So saying that, I do have a background as far as a recording artist since 1986. Nominated for Junos, won awards, Urban Music Award, the first one back in, I can't remember what, 2001, I think it was. So I've been in the content creation of music and also doing videos and TV too for a long time. But I've switched into business development over since 1998 when I did our studio in Bermuda, became there. We were the actual studio that actually represented Hot 97 in Bermuda. And we actually did all their content, whether it's commercials, anyone that came through Bermuda, it came through us, or we worked with George Lucas and doing, like, they do offs, ADR off out of LA, and they come to Bermuda and use our studios to do a lot of ADR and stuff like that for movies and TV shows. So I've done both sides. So I've seen the pains on both sides, and also the successes on both sides. But that's brought us to this conversation today, because what you do is important, and whatever I could do to shed light on what I know, I won't be able to fix everything. And I mentioned that to a few people. Michael Williams keeps saying, why don't you put together a group and buy this? And Kevin Johnson, they get together and we do something else with, whatever. But I can't do everything. I can only do what I could do in my own wheelhouse, and hopefully keep talking about it, and maybe one day it gets done.
Okay, so for a few things. So for people, Junos is our equivalent to what the Americans do, the Grammy Awards. So for people who don't know, because we have a worldwide audience, and you had mentioned an acronym ADR. What does that mean?
Additional dubbing of recording, like, you know what I mean? So for instance, I was like a talk about now, we did Revenge of the Fifth with George Lucas, Frank Oz, Earl Jones, and they were in our studio for a few days, locked down. And remember that point when he lost, when he put the helmet on him and he started. That's when we did that recording of that, overdubbed that. So they couldn't do it on site so they did it off site at our studio. So there was extra recording that needs to be done. They go to studios and do ADR, and we had the luxury of doing a whole bunch of stuff like that.
How did that collaboration happen?
Well, if that wasn't much as collaboration, we're a commercial-based studio, recording studio. So anyone that comes to Bermuda, Beyonce came into our studio, Chris Brown came into our studio. It's just, we're a commercial-based studio. So when they come to Bermuda, they're looking for a spot to go ahead and do recordings. And then we also represented Hot 97, doing all the commercials. So anyone that comes to Bermuda usually went through us, because we were also the program director for the Hot 97. So it's a commercial-based studio. So it was more of, what studio should we go to, instead of collaboration, right?
Understood. That's a great setup. Yeah. Let me ask you, why did you initially get involved in media entertainment? What caused you to get involved in this crazy industry?
My whole family, there was 4 brothers that we started a group called Selections back in the mid 80s from church. So from the Selections, we actually we got signed on by Attic Records and MCA. I mean, I know Farty from way back, and I watch all these guys, coming up through there. We were always on CTV. We were considered the house band back in the early 90s because we were always on with Electric Circus with Monica and Diolis, if you remember her. We were always on. We did with In the Mix before it became The Mix. No, whatever that switch was, we were in there before it became Tony switched it over. We were always on. We're doing Easter Seal Telethon at the Global. We were doing tons of stuff, music for TV. So Oliver, if you remember Oliver, who did the in the morning time, him and I partnered together to do something, do what we're talking about now. But I didn't know enough about it back then. Oliver was a young producer at CTV, so we couldn't really, even though we sat in his apartment, we talked about it, we couldn't go ahead and do anything about it because you're caught up in trying to survive and take care of your family. You know what I mean? So back then, that was the interest. Doing music, then doing a lot of TV stuff. Then I was like, wait a minute, I love this. And then studio starts. You know what I mean? Behind the glass now. It's less stressful being behind the glass, I felt, for me, than it was being in front of the cameras and mic.
Good stuff. Good stuff. One of the family here, Christopher Lawrence, says, great resume, Tim Fray, Christopher Lawrence. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Awesome.
Okay, let's get into the conversation. As we sit on August 26, 2022, what is Tim Fray's State of the Union of Black Canadian media?
It's funny because I think this is a great conversation, and you need to do this all the time. Because you are a media company, you are a media platform.
Yep.
But there's so many guys that have opinions, and this is what I found. This is what I found out for me personally. Because I'm in the business sector now, and because I've done media, as far as when I say media, media content, not like you. I'm not expert in actually the platforms. I'm just the content creator. I get called now like, Tim, help us get our stuff together, and we create a consortium, and let's get a 15,000 square foot space. And they want me to put together a whole business plan to put together media stuff. So I find that there's a whole bunch of talent that we have, whether it's a Dwight Drummond from CTV, or whether it's a Tony Young, like I mentioned before, or Rudy Blair, who now has his own show. He left Rogers. I know Rudy. He interviewed Selections Us back in the early 90s all the time, or Michael Williams, who's now Mr. Senior of media. So there's all this talent that we have, but they've all been in their silo working with corporations that wasn't looking out for our interests. They just have these guys who do a great job. And then there's the other side. Then there's like guys like like Moses Amoa. Is it Amoa from Silver Trust Media.
I think Amoa from Afro Global.
From Silver Trust Media. Robert from FIVA TV, and there's Kevin Johnson from media. There's also Wally, who's from Yoruba Media. He's from Toronto, but he lives in LA, and he's one of my partners in something else that we do. So you got these other guys on the other side who have access to pushing that media out there, but no one's come together to put the talent of Black talent and the Black media guys together. So when they call me up, it's because majority of the talented guys who wanted to do this whole thing didn't have the business acumen to actually see a business plan put together and a business model put together, like our friend Brian Allen. You know what I mean? Now he knew how to do that. He was an artist, but he also knew, like, his mother taught him business, so he knew how to put both together. We talk, but we don't have that here. We have great talent. And then we have guys who are doing some good stuff on the media content delivering, but no one put both together.
What do you feel is the block? Because I hear you too, and I agree 100% with you. There's great talent, there's the business side, and then there is the performer side. There are two. They're on each side of a fence, but no one's opening up the fence to say, hey. Because I'm a firm believer going forward, collaboration and data is the future. It's not the future; it's a reality.
It's here. Yes.
What do you feel is stopping it?
So there's a couple of things, and I'm going to touch on something that you always talked about, which is awesome. Trauma. You know what I mean? So here we go. When we start looking at how come APTN and how come Pujaba TV and how come all these other people are having, communities are having success and having their own media. if you start looking at our how we migrated here, you know what I mean? We migrated here with the shirt, but our parents with the shirt on their back. That's it. Most of these other communities, they have money funneled in here. The South Asians have tons of money funneled in here. The Chinese have tons of money funneled in here. So they got funds coming in here from their countries to do to go ahead and basically have their think tanks and say, oh, we want to actually have this, let's do it, here's money. We don't have that from the Caribbean. We came in here and we worked, my parents worked their butts off, you know what I mean, to go in to take care of the family. So we're basically working from behind. And it's hard to now sit there and have an idea and let's get started, but where the funds come from. So we revert back to government to help us when we don't have our own. So I'm telling you right now, whenever I sit down with these guys, like Earl White, I'm not sure if you know Earl White. Earl brought me in 2 years ago. He was connected to me because he was told to talk to Tim and he could help you put it all together. So Earl, Ian, there's a few other guys.
Is that Ian who?
Ferguson, is Ian Ferguson? No, I can't remember his name, last name, but these are all media guys that they called me up and they said, Tim, can you help us put together a group and do a business plan for our group? And these guys have been around for years doing this. And at the end of the day, I asked them, what is it that's stopping you right now? You guys are like, one guy's doing a TV show right now. So he goes, money. That was plain and simple. That was it. That was the answer. I go, what's stopping you guys? You have all these connections. What's stopping you? Money. That was it. So I'm like, well, so how do we go from here? So obviously they're not businessmen. They're talent, and they're creative.
They're creative.
They do what they do well.
Creative, right?
Yes, but they need a philanthropist. They need someone in a community that has funds that will support them.
I agree with you a little bit on I think, and I'm glad you brought up the trauma piece, because I think trauma and trust is a huge aspect. They may think, this is just me saying, they may think money's a big challenge, but when money gets in their hands, there still will be other challenges. And I don't know if they see that down the road, that there other potential challenges could come up.
Hence why they were told, call me. That's what they said. They said we talked about for so long. They said, well, let's call a businessman, and someone said, let's call Tim, and let's get put together. So therefore now we can put together the business plan and make it work. You know what I mean? Because you're right. The money they get money in, but then the money's gone, and they're realizing, like, what do we do with it? What at the end of the day, what was our return on our interest of our investment?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
what? Are you getting more calls about this sort of thing now than you were in the last few years?
In the last couple of years, I've been getting lots of calls. That's because I started FCP Black Consortium with Jay Martin. You know what I mean? So because I've been getting a lot of these calls, even in Bermuda, guys, Barbados. I have two production companies from Barbados that are working with me, and the whole thing about what we're doing is sharing resources. Not everyone has what I have. I don't have what everyone else has, but if we together have the lights, together we have the cameras, together we have some space, together we have some writers, together we have some sponsor guys who don't know how to get sponsors. Together we have it all. So we all got together, decided to create the Black Consortium, and that's nine production companies, and we share our resources to get content created and then get it out there.
Why do you feel you're getting more calls now than before?
A couple things, I think. The first thing is they were sitting at home. Most of them during COVID. I was just straight up. They're sitting at home going, we need to do more. What are we going to do out of here, right? And then the second thing is they're getting older. They're seeing themselves out of this soon. You know what I mean? They want to go to the other side. They're no longer 25, 30 years old. They're now they're like me, hitting their mid 50s, going into the 60s, and they're trying to figure a way of turning it into more of a consulting setup. You know what I mean? Maybe helping the younger people.
Legacy?
It's about training.
Is it like a legacy piece also?
Legacy is a part of that too, yes. Because think about that. Or think about this, I should say. I'm in the music industry heavily, and today, I mentioned this before, when Deborah Cox used to open up for my group back in the day, she was 18 years old, 17, 18. I said, Deborah, you're going to do really great things. We all talked about that down the road. You know what I mean? No problem. As I started learning about our history, out in Calgary on the 5th floor of the Music Center, there's a Hall of Fame, and Canadian Hall of Fame. And out of all these years gone by, 5 decades plus, there was only one Black person that represented Oscar Peterson until recently. And this was so I mentioned this a couple years ago, and all this, and I'm on the Juno board. So I'm on the adjudication board.
I used to be back in the day. I used to rope, but I don't anymore.
So when I mentioned this, all of a sudden now this year they got the first Black woman, which is Deborah Cox, in there. But if we were to die today, all the Black people, 1.4 million gone today, and other people came into this country, you wouldn't think we did music here.
Yep.
You wouldn't even know that we've done music here, because there's only two representations now: a woman and a Black guy, one Black woman, one Black man. But other than that, we don't have legacy set. Therefore, now we need to actually have our legacy set. That's what these guys are feeling also.
Do you also feel, and I know your experience heavily is in the entertainment side, do you think also we need to have, okay, actually, let me put it this way. Let me go back on that. Why do you feel it's important to have strong Black media in this country?
Well, if you go into history, and I don't like to actually go back to bring back the trauma, as you said, always. I want to go back just to learn and understand to plan my business going forward. So to go forward, we got to understand what happened to hold us back. So why is it important? Because in their policies, some group above another group made policies that says we are not gonna help Black or Indigenous people move forward, whether it's from housing, whether it's from businesses, especially media. So we'll hold on to our media so we can use propaganda to stop the success of our Black community. That happened in States, it's happening here. And people think, no, that's not true. It's true. It's still there. Even in the banking, when you start, they start putting out all of these, we're going to help Black people. But if you look down at the bottom, it sits there, but they still go by their standard lending practices. And you understand what that is. Some guys on top, grandpas, grandmas, whoever it is, that actually said, we will not extend money to help a Black business. Literally written that way. We will not extend money to help Indigenous business. Literally written that way. They don't say it out now. They just have it in different policies that down below. We need that, our word out there in the media, because media now is also saying the same thing. We could have a token Black person come on our show, so we can have more people watch our show who are Black in different cultures. But if we were to actually have our own policies on the show, on the media, they'd be like, oh my goodness, they're going to be talking about what we did to them years ago. We don't want that happening. You know what I mean? So yes, it's important we have our own voice and have no one directing it. So that's why before, when you talked about CRTC and the terrestrial radio and government, I always talk about digital. And NFTs, right? And NFTs, because that's where we can now truly create on the blockchain our own voice, and no one else owns it except for us, and they can't do anything about it.
You're reading my alleged mind. I was going to get to that. Myself and Ryan, one of the conversation topics we had on this past Monday show was government funding to help get Black media to the next level. What are your thoughts on that?
Government funding? Well, it's our money. So there always should be that laneway to get our money, but we shouldn't be dependent on it. I mean, at some point you gotta get off your mother's, and move on to solid food. So I shouldn't have said that. But anyways, but
you did.
So, but the thing is that it's there for a reason. You know what I mean? And it's, as long as we understand what it's there for, just like we have to understand what the loans are there for at banks, we shouldn't depend on loans or the government, even though that money is ours. We shouldn't depend on it. We should actually build a strong business plan, work within the community, share resources, and then build from there. Got to build the economy by strong businesses. You know what I mean? That's what I believe. That's my whole belief in that. The government money is important because it's our money, but we shouldn't depend on it. If you're going to open up a business and look at the government that's funding it, then you've lost. Straight up, you've lost. You're not sustainable.
Good. Just doing a reset here this morning on the Morning Vibe. Dr. Vibe here. Ryan is not with us this morning, and speaking with Tim Fray about the state of Black Canadian media and what needs to happen to make it better. So, Tim, contrast when you first got into the media biz to now. What's different? What's the same?
Globalization versus localization. So I wrote a book for training. I did music business consulting called "I Didn't Know That," and it's 27 chapters of questions that I get from consulting over and over again, and always got the same phrase. Oh, I didn't know that. Whether someone who's very young or someone who's very old in it. So it's what I found out is that we're more global. We're definitely more global. We just happen to be Canadians music, but we're global. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. We can write a show, come up with the idea, put a YouTube channel on, create a little bit of a vlog, you know what I mean, and attempt to go viral with that vlog as advertisement, and then have that show shown across the world. You know what I mean? Immediately, like that same day. I've had it where artists have come in and did a song, got it actually written, produced, edited, mixed, went up onto and released as a single up online the same day. That's the difference now than before. Before, I went through a whole bunch of different channels in order for it to actually get out there, but now you can just go right away globally out there. And like I said, if you do your marketing properly, you can literally do really well without going to a major TV studio or a major recording record company.
It somewhat reminds me, I'm going to bring this up, a few things. So for people may not be old enough, but there is a gentleman named Tavis Smiley. And if you don't know who he is, pardon me, you should check him out. He was, I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong here, he was the first African-American man to host a daily talk show on a major network. Many years ago, he hosted, and he actually influenced me to start what I'm doing today. He was one of the major influences. And, you know, he's had some controversy with PBS. PBS let him go. That's a whole other conversation piece. But when he got started, that was the influence. And still to this day, on major network television, there are not too many Black men hosting a talk show. And so I bring it up today that just recently, and I'm not promoting it, but there's a YouTube channel called Vlad TV, and they have just done a 2.5-hour interview of Tavis Smiley. And one of the things I did not know, he was a very close friend of Prince, knew him for 20 years. That's right. And Tavis Smiley now has his own all-Black talk radio station based in LA. And he talks about it. So if you go to Vlad TV, put in Tavis Smiley, it's a very interesting interview, very fascinating, different facets of his life. But he said that west of the Mississippi in the US, there are only 4 Black-owned talk stations, if that.
Wow.
So do you feel, coming to this, Tim, now, do you feel that we need to have, let me put it this way, how important is it if we have a network that news and information is part of that network or networks, broadcast networks?
How important is it? It's very important. We need, like, that's what you guys last week we talked about it, or Monday, having your own like Black Pulse 24, because we need, like, if I wake up at 10 o'clock or wake up at 11 o'clock, you know, hearing what happened, and I miss news from 9 o'clock, you know what I mean? I could catch it at 10 o'clock. That's why, you know, Turner does so well, because that 24-hour cycle, even though it might be monotonous to some people, it allows everyone to stay tuned. So we need to actually have that also. We can't think that we can't always feel like we need to cater just to one person, or we have to make sure we have available for everyone. So that news is important, and it's important 24 hours a day.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm going to ask a question. If, in your opinion, if the money was out there, how soon do you think we'd see a network out there?
So let me ask you a question. You don't think the money,
you're terrible. You're putting
you don't think the money's out there?
How about me?
You don't think the money's there?
You know what? The money's out, and I don't think people need to go for government money. It's a nice to have. The thing is, you've got to, I think the key thing about starting a Black network in this country, if you want something national, advertisers. Who is going to help foot the bills? Because like you said, government money should only to me, government money is only a startup thing. With you should have in your business plan after a certain number of years, like 3 years, you should be sustainable.
You're right. And so let me ask you another question. Sorry,
That's all right.
Question. How do you must know this, and maybe you don't. You just tell me whether or not you do. Any business, but let's just stick with this media business. Moses Zeimer.
Yep.
Do you think he went to the government for money? Do you know how he got his money to start?
I don't know.
It was one person who lives in Bermuda.
Yep.
Literally most guys, most businesses will have a sugar mama or sugar daddy.
That's it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? That believes in them, that believes in their value, believes in because it was a business plan he had, a business idea he had, and somebody who believes in him and who's wealthy. Yep. Not talking about they're making millions of dollars with a business. No, they're wealthy where they don't have to go and work. They believed in him. Just like, other guys who start businesses, they have someone who believes in them, and a philanthropist that said, I love your values, I love where you're going. I want to actually help you with that. We need that. And it's here, but we don't have anyone saying we want to actually dump in millions of dollars into a Black media community, Black media company for your community. We don't have that, but it's here. We just don't have a person that's willing to do that, or a company that's willing to do that. So therefore, I love what ACBN is doing and what the ecosystem is doing. We need to do economic development and find those businesses that we can scale them up so that they are successful and they are making tens of millions of dollars, that they could put it back into the community, stuff like this, Black media.
Okay. So here's another question for you. Let's take a look at the model of the Black news channel in the U.S. that went belly up, right? And then Byron Allen bought it for $11 million, which is a steal. Yeah, real steal. If someone approached you with the funding to start a network, a media network, national, Black Canadian, but they were non-melanated, would you accept the money?
If they did what Jeff Bezos did, yes.
Tell people. I know what you're talking about, but tell people.
So when he came back from going up to the outer earth, you know what I mean, and he came back down, he gave Van Jones $100 million check with no strings attached. Cut it. I want nothing for this. I want you to help you do what you need to get done for the programs that you're working on to help your community. No strings attached. If they were to do that, yes. But if they sit there and go, no, we want to be involved and want to see return on our interest and all that stuff, I'd say no.
Okay.
Because I know for sure that I've been in that. That's what I've been doing for 35 years. I've been helping these guys make millions of dollars by expanding their growth of their businesses. So I know what that gets me, and it doesn't get me there. Right. So I know what the end result is. So I would say no to that. Not that I don't want their money, but I would know why they're doing it. There's a reason why they're doing it.
Would you give the same answer to someone who is melanated?
What do you mean? Not to take the act and cut
So what my question is, in that scenario, regardless of the person's cultural background, would you still want basically them not to have any involvement, just give
No, it's different because I'm
Okay.
a part of the growth. Like we all need to grow. We need to grow your business. You need to grow our business. You need to grow the media. Need to grow the legal sector. We need to grow our ecosystem. So we all have to grow together. So no, I want them to be involved. I want to if they have that fun and they want to actually help. Yes, be a part of it though. Whether it's on the board, because we don't have enough people on boards that understand what boards are. So they, with that money, could be on the board and be on a chair committee or something like that to overlook, you know what I mean, to make sure that it's being done properly. But no, I don't want to cut them out. We want them to grow too, and their families.
So Divine Right from the US said no strings attached and make sure the paperwork is tight. Have a lawyer or someone look at that and make sure there are truly no strings attached. Christopher Lawrence has a question. I don't think it's, I guess, somewhat related, but more to small business. Curious, what are some of the strategies that can help small businesses to become self-sufficient?
Now, that's a small loaded question, because small businesses in Canada is 500 plus employees. Now, if Chris is talking about a mom and pop business, that's someone's working from the kitchen who's doing CMOS and want to actually get it out there to people. You know what I mean? There's lots of different ways of doing those, and you could probably be more successful by grassroots, building up your acquisitions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Repeat customers. But to be self-sufficient, it's to hold down your costs, your overhead costs. You know what I mean? Not to go and take a loan, because that's just another cost. Understanding why you're getting the money from whoever you're getting it from, angels, investors, or your families or friends. Keep in mind that sometimes not taking money is better than to take money. So you want to be self-sufficient. Whatever you're selling, products or services, let's go do what Dave and John did. Go at your trunk of your car. Start selling it. So now when you get that money, reinvest it in yourself, reinvest it in more products, and then sell it again and reinvest it again. Sometimes you'll sleep better at night than having to owe people money. So if you want to be self-sufficient as a small, like a mom and pop place, grassroots, build your acquisitions, build your it doesn't cost you anything to do videos. I mean, Dr. Vibe does videos really well especially when it comes to introductions. You can do the same thing when it comes to your products. Do videos in your camera, throw it out there, 30-second videos, a minute and a half videos, put it out there out to the world. Maybe you get 2 or 3 more people come in and buy your product, then use that, turn it around and buy more product, sell more products. So sometimes to be self-sufficient is to stay out of getting money from other people. You know what I mean? Which then you don't sleep at night, you lose a lot of sleep, and then you get frustrated, and then you just you implode. Unfortunately, businesses implode because they think that money is going to fix all their problems and be self-sufficient. Money does it. It's a repeat all the time, repeat business that does it. Cash flow.
Question for you: if I asked you to highlight successful media, doesn't matter what cultural background it's based on, could you give us some examples of what, in your opinion, are successful media ventures, either past or current?
I straight up with you, I can't. I haven't seen any. I mean, Oprah is not all Oprah. You know what I mean? There's a whole there, and I do.
Oprah is sold out to Discovery, so it's a Discovery Network.
So most of the people we see, even BET, you know what I mean, they have some of that they actually
Viacom.
So once again, when you start talking about successful media, who like, is it Rowan? Is he successful? I'm not sure. He's been doing some good stuff also, but I'm not sure how successful his media outlet is. In Canada, definitely not. I don't see any really successful. It depends what you call success also. Dr. Vibe, because everyone's different when it comes to success. If you want to talk about, are they impactful? You know what I mean? In our community? No, I haven't seen it yet. That's why we're talking about it still, because we haven't seen it yet.
So then, just based on what you shared there, what to you defines, and I'm talking about media, what is the definition of a successful media enterprise in your lens?
So a bit of what Christopher says, self-sustainable. that we're not dependent so much on terrestrial and getting money from the government to bail us out every end of every year. That we actually have steady revenue coming in, and if it's not revenue, then we have uptick in subscriptions if it's digital. You know what I mean? That we have more people get on. If we have 1.4 million Black people in Canada, you know, what percentage of those people do we need to actually have on and go after them? You know what I mean? But also understanding that if we're digital now, we got the billions of people over in Africa, and we got the 44 million people, you know, or what million people across North America that we could go after too. So having subscriptions, you know what I mean, is important. So you just look at a business model and then go by that. Say, what does it take to keep this going and scale it? I think what happened to that last company that Byron took over, they actually had the cart before the horse, and they basically just said, here's what we want to do, and then let's do it all in one time instead of scaling it up. So you got to actually sit there and go, I need to know my bandwidth. If I have a 20,000 square foot space, I can use maybe 2,000 square foot of that and start my business and then grow. You have room to grow. I always revert back to I'm not sure if you know Woodbine by on 427. So for forever they've had this land, and I knew for some reason I go they're getting ready for growth. Years ago they're getting ready for growth. All of a sudden they were able to get a license to do card games, and now
gambling.
Look at this.
Yeah,
look at this now. One of the largest hotels are being built there right now. They had the land prepared, ready to go. So you don't have to all do everything at one time. You can actually have phases and grow.
Okay. Christopher has another question here. How can we build more platforms for Canadian music talent to be as successful or more successful with their careers versus migrating across the border?
We do have platforms here. We do have iLive Radio. We do have, Soul Sessions. We do have, there's a list of successful festivals and that we have here. It's the collection of them collaborating together is what we need. We got to stop doing silos, just like any other business. Artists think they have to go silo. They have to be by themselves instead of coming together and collaborate and work together. So, to answer your question, Christopher, we do have it here already. I mean, we don't need to build more platforms. We could continue to grow platforms that we have currently, but we don't need to sit there and come up with new ideas. It's here. We just got to actually learn how to collaborate with each other, work with the school systems, and identify the young artists early, just like they do for hockey here in Canada. We identify the next NHL player back when he's like 8 years old. So why can't we identify artists and content creators when they're younger and then develop them, do grassroots development, and we have the platform to allocate that.
I'll just add on to that we also got to put in, like Christopher, that the United States has over 300 million people. So it's a really large market. But yes, we do have the platforms here. And this is just my take. It's one of those things. Canadians a lot of times don't want to pound their chests and say we're great, right? It's very few things you like. One of the few things that I'd say some Canadians say, and they're very proud of, is hockey. Like when they play hockey, they bang their chests worldwide. But we have other areas of talent that we don't say, hey, we're good. And a lot of times, and I just don't think it's a Canadian thing, but we look for validation outside.
Yeah.
And then when we come back, we get notoriety. And hey, I'm a perfect example. When I started this journey many years ago, I could not get any love from people in Canada. And I was getting a lot of attention from people in the United States. So I had a choice to say, okay, do I stop because I'm not getting love here, or do I go where I'm loved? I chose to go where I'm loved and built up that platform, that environment, then came back here. And then that's when I said, oh, you got this. Oh, you've been contributing content to the Good Men Project for how long? They got 3 million visitors a month. Oh, then, so it's unfortunate that we have a mindset that we have to prove our chops outside of here to get the recognition here. And I think sometimes it's a little bit of a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Christopher brings up, oh man, this is an interesting question. Who remembers Star Search show?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow, that's going back.
Yeah. Ed
That
McMahon.
man, I didn't think I'd hear that show on. Wow, that's bringing that out.
Yeah, Ed McMahon. That's
Yeah,
right.
wow. Woo! Star shirt. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Do you see a national black network in this country? Well, Afro Global may say they already are because they're on cable, but maybe other national networks in the next 5 years being established?
So this is my look on take on this, and nothing against Moses, because Moses and I are still trying to collaborate together. You know what I mean? And so Robert and I have already collaborated on with FIVA. Um, I'm not about terrestrial media anymore. I want zero to do with what the CRTC and the government is going to mandate for us, because then we're basically then in a losing game, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
We've lost. If we stay in that realm, we've lost. We can't do it. We can only do whatever they allow us to do. So to build something, you have to think about the future, and the future is, well, especially when you start talking to kids, or even some adults now, when you start talking about their travels, podcasts, subscription based, choosing their apps. So digital is where it's at. I used to work with for some people at Rogers years ago, and some people there who are there right now. I know they said if the Rogers family could start today a media company, all digital. Only reason why they're not doing it in global, because they got such a huge infrastructure right now. That's the terrestrial that it can't. How can you actually let that go? You can't let that go. So now they're doing 2 lane ways,
Yeah,
digital,
they are.
linear. They're doing two
Yeah.
lane ways. So, but they said if they were to start, like how you were asking, do you see us starting something going in the future? They said, and these are smart people, if they were to start a media company today, they go full digital. So why are we looking to go and do, get a channel that might be available and have to go and apply for a license for that channel and not get it on terrestrial, when we could just start our own digital platform and go out there and do what's necessary with a valid business plan and a valid marketing plan, a valid training plan. We have the contents, we have the talent, we just put them all together, share resources, and go forward. It's just, once again, like I said, like Earl, those guys said, Tim, we need someone to put together the whole plan, because we got all this talent, but not a business person to put together the plan. Denham did that, but Denham, we can't depend on just Denham. You know what I mean? We need more guys who could put something together and then go forward with the plan.
Interesting.
More people, sorry, because there's women too.
Yeah.
Great women, right? So that did also, not guys, but women.
And DJ Renard goes like buyblacks.com. There you go.
Once again, they're part of it. You know what I mean? They're all a part of it. So it's a matter of working together with everyone and collaborating together, not just one. Because remember, it can't just be one. We have no chance of failing. So it's easy for someone out there who's huge, a huge company like Bell Media, to say, yeah, buy blacks. Yeah, they're okay. We give them some awards. We do this and that. But if we come together, all of us, they have to now really look at us and say, oh my goodness, that collaborations of all these different groups, and they're working together and sharing, resources. They got these huge commercial buildings they're all working in at. You know what I mean? You talk to one group, it's like, oh, so-and-so? Yeah, we actually partnered with that person too. And you talk to another group, so-and-so? Yeah, we're partners with that guy too. It's like we have to collaborate and share. We don't do that as companies. I'm not talking about just families, I'm talking about companies.
Trauma.
You're right. but if you're asking me, can it be changed? Yes, it can be. I'm telling you right now, success changes everybody. So if you have the right people in there creating the right business models, and you see and make sure it execute, make sure it's working, it'll change people.
Good stuff. Well, good morning, Marlon Steven. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Marlon.
Christopher's going #partnerships.
Yes.
Justin Senior, more hands floats all boats. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Good to have Justin here, who has very deep experience in this subject that we're chatting about. So very, very good to have some really good people, family on as usual. Again, we're going to start to wind it down a little bit, but hey, if you have any questions or comments, please, Tim is here to share his evaluated experience on this subject. What and it's interesting. Okay, hold on. Good comment here. The pace and rate of change in this industry is dizzying. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I remember a number of years ago, the big word in media back then was convergence. And that meant
so to your point, Dr. Vibe. So as we're here talking about, should we do a black media, and how does it look? Do we go to the government? Do we get a channel? Here's the guys in the States talking about doing a media. What's his name? Who just had his 10th baby coming up.
Oh my goodness. I know who you're talking about.
He's been married to Mariah Carey. Anyways,
yeah.
He just announced. They just announced. The group just announced a whole new media content creation on NFTs. So understand my point. So here we're talking about getting how do we get our own media, and then talking about getting on a dial on Rogers or Bell Media. You know what I mean, at CRTC. And here's these groups in the States and other parts of the world are talking about, okay, what's the next thing happen in the next 5-10 years? They go, we're doing media content creation on NFTs, on our own platforms. So therefore now we need to be thinking that way, digital and blockchain, you know what I mean? And controlling our own content, our own IPs, and then having to go backwards. So we got to get out of that whole frame of mind. We got to actually follow the footsteps of what these guys are currently doing, the terrestrial radio and terrestrial TV, and go into more of the digital and NFT.
Okay. The name you're looking
for
was
Nick Cannon. Yes.
Cannon.
Thank you,
yes.
Christopher.
Yes.
Mr. 10 baby man.
Yeah, and counting.
and
counting. I'm counting. Met him a number of years ago at TIP, but that's a whole other conversation in itself. But at one time I was saying, yeah, I could put that as a social media picture. I'm going, I don't know if I want to do that now, but that's a whole other conversation in itself.
Everyone to their own.
You believe it. You got it. What's going on these days with Fraycat?
So, well, once again, business for me, it's multiple. The hospice group, we do multiple things. So we're doing, whether it's hospitality that we're doing, training, you know what I mean? So with Fraycat, we do artist development. So we have myself and my new partners, Steve Paggio from Paggio Productions in Montreal, and Hugh Fiderzar. Both of them were with Bad Boys Productions for years. We joined together to do artist development. We'll announce it soon. But we're currently doing that, developing artists across Canada and the media. The Black Consortium, which is made up of 9 production companies. Sorry, nine production companies. We are working on content. You know what I mean? They are, I should say, not me, but they are working on content. My job is to bring them all together. What do they need? We have, sessions on pitching. We have sessions on developing, writing the scripts, how to present it. Then, so we are working within ourselves in a consortium of sharing our resources. So there's one of the production companies is really great at doing production. So and another company, Studio from Barbados. He's great. He worked for CBC Barbados, and he's great at lighting. So we use his expertise in lighting for our movies and stuff like that. That Jay is doing a movie right now. You know what I mean? And we're involved in another project. So Jay's my partner in this. So media-wise, I'm doing multiple things: artist development, media content creation, and business-wise, making sure everyone is solid. So I work on their business too. So not just them as production companies coming out, but I sit there with them and go, how's your business? How's it look? And I work on their business to make sure that they're actually self-sustainable, as Christopher says, and they're all independent. They all own their own IPs. No one owns it except for them. We're just independent companies joined together to work together for the better.
Why is there a continued gap when it comes to many people in this space either not knowing or not wanting to know the business aspect? or at least have an at least high level knowledge of the business aspect.
But it even comes to sports. Don't you remember when
Yeah.
guys like just get an agent? I just want to play. I just want to play. Remember that back then? I played football professional, and it's like I just want to play. But no, you learn about the agent part of it. How your contract's done, and you know, I mean, if you make this many tackles, and you know how much more money you get, and you understand the business part of your of what you do as a talent. And music the same way. Most guys just want to sing, and most just want to play. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, then it gets too late because now they become 30-something years old and realize that, oh, wait a minute here, that's going to stop soon. Like, what am I doing? And then they don't know business and they just kind of give up. I'm saying this because people have done that. I'm actually mentoring a couple of well-known producers who are in their late 30s but didn't know how to flip over to executives. They were still producing, but they're out of touch now. When you're 19 years old producing music and you did some good, and now you're 39 years old, you're kind of out of touch. So being there to help them transition into being executives and understanding business.
I'm going to refer back again to that interview of Tavis Smiley that's on Vlad TV, which is like 2.5 hours, but the interviewer asks great questions and he gets really deep, and a lot of it about his relationship with Prince. And one of the things that inspired Tavis to buy a radio station is Prince told him, and I love this quote, Prince said, "Content is king, distribution is the emperor." When I heard that, I said, boom. Boom.
So sorry, what does that mean? For me, what does that mean?
So what Prince was telling him, and for those who remember back in the day, Prince had a very long fight with Warner Brothers to own his content.
Got you.
And he
own his own distribution.
He had slave imprinted on it, like his beard on the side said slave.
So own his own distribution is empire. Okay, got you.
Yeah, he said content is king, but distribution is the emperor. So yes, there's the king, but the emperor
distribution
is above the king.
I got it now.
So just for those out there, if you want to really own your content, Tim has said it, definitely own yourself. There are too many and continue to be too many scary stories about artists, not only in this country, but around the world, who don't own their content.
You're right.
Who sign bad deals.
360 deals are not good deals. Whoever's out there listening, 360 deals is not good deals. It's not made for you. It's made for the record companies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we start winding down, Tim, if anyone has the idea of wanting to start a media network, anyone Black in this country, what are one or two things you'd say are best practices?
I'll go back to, and I don't like to say this, but if they're just trying to start something like that, do they understand business? This is when they might need to call CBCC or ACBN about starting a business and understand a business plan, understand executive summary, understand a 3 to 5 year forecast. You got to understand that. We can't just say I want to start a soccer group, a soccer league. You got to understand the business of it. You know what I mean? And what's your forecast and how you can make money. So anyone that wants to just start a media company, are they business people ready, or are they just someone who has a good idea to start a media company? You know what I mean? So it has to be that you have to get a solid business model, get a solid business plan, a full business plan, not a 2-page or a 5-page or whatever. Get whatever it takes to get your marketing, market analysis, your SWOT, forecasting, your team together, who's going to run it, how the housing, the scale, you know what I mean? You got to get the full plan done with the blueprint to go forward. And then you now attack, okay, now I got a full plan. I got a great plan, a blueprint. Let me now get the right people to join with me. You no longer need someone to actually come on to do it for you. You just want someone to come in and join with you. If they're not the right people joining with you, then you move on to the next person. You know what I mean? Because you don't need someone to come in and save you. You have a plan. You just need someone to come in and join with you along with that plan to go forward.
You have run many businesses and enterprises currently and in the past. Can you just spend a few moments on how critical it is to have a good team? Because to me, if you want to get into media and you don't know about the business, find someone that A, you can get along with,
That's right.
B, that has experience doing this sort of thing before. So
Exactly.
get the receipts on, but how important is the relationship aspect, especially in the media game?
So, so to your first point about a team, um, if you have an idea, the idea it's great on its own, but it's way better when you have a group of people that can actually pull it off. You know what I mean? And when if you were coming to some guy like Marlon or somebody like like from the Dragon's Den or from Shark Tank or whatever, they want to know who's your team. That's one of the things they want to know: who's doing this with you. You have an advisory team, you have a board, whatever it is, you need a team. That's important. But then now the next thing is how do you get a team? And to your point of do you get along with the people that you know what I mean? Find the right person to connect with you. You need to vet them properly. It can't be just because they're my second cousin from my mom's side, or just because they live next door to you, or you grew up with them. That can't be just that's your team. It has to be someone who shares the same values and understands your business model and is willing to get up every day and fight for that model with you. You got to find the right people and in their sector. So they could be the financial person, they could be the actual, technology person, they could be the actual legal person. It doesn't really matter. The sector of the team, they have to be experts of what they do and they're going to contribute to it. So either it's sweat equity or if it's financial, it has to be on the same board. So finding the right teammates for your idea is imperative. So even if you did your own business plan, you need to go find a team now to actually support you for going out there trying to find funding for it if you don't have funding for it.
It just came to my alleged mind, but how important is to have people sign NDAs?
Well, I mean, that's every single agreement I do has some form of NDA inside of it, confidential agreement inside of it, everyone. But Barnum would tell you differently when it comes to looking for a VC. You know what I mean? The VC might not want to sign an NDA. So I agree with that. You know what I mean? It depends who the VC is, how large they are of a company. You know what I mean? And you want to take a risk with that, that's up to you. But it is important that if I'm doing business with you and I'm going to go forward, that agreement talks about everything, including confidential, terms that you keep it within us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Us only. So it's important to have it in an agreement. It's not important to have a huge 20-page NDA, but it's important to have something in the agreement stating that this is non-disclosure agreement and confidential, for sure.
All right. Well, I think we have called it a conversation. Tim Fray, as always, the pleasure to have you on and share, dropping knowledge bombs and your valued experience. For those who are watching live on the replay, Tim's contact information is on the screen, email address, website, and just look up FCP Black Consortium. I think, let me just make sure we've got everyone covered here. So Hayden says the best business I've heard in a long time. Thanks, team. Hopefully our community will understand that. Thank you, Hayden. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And DJ Renard says no NDA, no deal.
But so this is a good topic to talk about. Which we should talk about this. This
Okay.
is the whole not right. We don't have to do it now, but we could a show on NDAs and the whole point of what we're doing with NT and NFTs. You know what I mean? And how that replaces NDAs. Because if you get your idea up on a blockchain and you can actually then that's protected. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people, especially in our community, don't understand NDAs. And when you put an NDA out, it's like going to prenuptial agreement. So when you put an NDA out there, I don't want to deal with you anymore.
You're in a relationship. Yeah.
So I know how important it is. Maybe on DJ Rayner knows how important it is. But sometimes
he knows.
But sometimes you don't have a long-term relationship because you start off with that. Like somebody came to me one day and said, "Tim, I want to do something, but sign the NDA first." I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I'm being dead serious. Stop in my office. Don't know who you are. Don't know if I even want to do business with you. So why do I want to listen to you with the NDA signed? So you have to understand where you're at with that. Like if I love the idea and I want to go forward, like I have with this one guy who just came to me yesterday, went through his whole business thing, and I go, I love this idea. What can we do? And we say, okay, let's first of all, because we're going to go forward, let's sign an NDA. That's the understanding. Because we love our ideas. We knew that right from the beginning. He didn't share everything, but he shared enough to say to me, for me to say, I love this idea. I know what I can actually contribute to it. Let's sign an NDA, go forward. So it depends, right? We should have a show about this, the NDA,
We'll talk about
how important it is. But also don't let it stop you from actually working a relationship with somebody. Also,
excellent. Yeah. Well, Tim, again, thanks for taking your time in front of the screen and also behind the screen with your comments. You have made the Morning Vibe a successful venture, and it continues to be a successful venture with family like you on board. People, if you have any questions, the contact information is there. He's willing to give, he's giving, he's serving, he wants you to win. So, Tim, thanks very much for taking the time to be on the Morning Vibe today.
Brother, you're welcome. Look, and Marlon and I are partners in other ventures.
Yes, I know.
But he won't let me say this. I'm going to tell you this. My whole goal is to be a philanthropist. That's my whole goal right now. I building businesses, making enough wealth so I could give more back, more and more and back. I realized that I chased money for decades with somebody else's dream, and now I'm not making up for lost time, but I'm doing whatever I can. And so my thing is, if I could build people's businesses right now, take a piece of it, build wealth, and put way more back into than what I'm taking from it, that's my goal.
Well said, and a good way to end off. Be well and keep the faith. Remember to give yourself grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy, my man. Be well.
Thank you. Take care.
My pleasure. Take care. All right, family. Great conversation today. Tim was laying some great knowledge bomb stuff. So again, I put his contact information on the screen. Also, just a little recap. If you want to watch replays of the Morning Vibe, you can catch it at the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube, also Ryan Oneil Knight on LinkedIn. So I want to thank everyone who made this an epic conversation today. So I'm going to end off with a few things. So coming up on Monday, we have Janice Bartley and Marie Fitron of Foodpreneur Lab. They're going to be kicking off a new monthly segment on the Morning Vibe called Beyond Jerk, reclaiming the food for the diaspora, as we like to say. So check that out on Monday. Those of you who know Janice, she is like next level when it comes to food, but they're going to be coming on once a month. Her and Marie, who's our program director at Foodpreneur Lab. And they're going to be talking about different aspects of food, not just the eating part, but they're going to be doing some stories, some stuff about the food industry from a Black lens. So those segments are going to discuss foods, recipes, experiences, memories, and traditions that break the reductive assumptions of sameness when it comes to Black food. So please check that out. So that's on Monday. Also, when you can catch me next Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. on Black Canada Talking, I have Nakembi Biobob, who is a digital marketing expert, and she'll be there sharing on that. Sunday night, we have State of Things with Aisha K. Staggers, Jill Jones, and Laura Lala Key, giving their takes about what's going on in America from a political and social lens. And then Monday morning, we're back with the Morning Vibe, and we've got Janice and Marie. So thank you for checking out the show live on the replay. We appreciate it, and we don't take it for granted. So as always, we say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. I'm going to end off with this. So we all have acronyms these days. Here's an acronym for you. It's POISE. I think, I'm going to save that for Monday. Let me save that for Monday. After Monday's show, we'll save it. I wanted to drop it today, but no, I'll save it for Monday. Give me a second here, family. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to drop it now. I'm going to drop it also on Monday. So POISE, acronym POISE. P is be a producer. O is for ownership. I is for investment. S is for savings. And E is for entrepreneurship. If we can get more of our melanated people with that mindset, just that mindset, focusing on poise, we would move ahead, in my opinion, 1,000%. So God bless, peace be well, keep the faith. And again, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We'll see you Monday morning. Have an outstanding and blessed weekend. Keep the faith.